So we are honored to have you on our humble little podcast here. Thank you so much for getting back.
Sure.
So yeah, we're just gonna, I guess, ask a couple questions.
That's how interviews go, right? Usually.
Yeah,
Usually.
I've been told. This is my second time, so
yeah, this is time number 2, unless you count my manager job and interviewing people for a job. So we'll let you know if you got it afterwards. Okay.
Oh, thank you. I'm really concerned.
I am looking to replace this guy at some point, so you go ahead and let me know if you're.
I don't know. Would you be able to use the tired dad moniker? I don't know.
Me? Maybe not. Maybe not. No.
So, I guess jumping right in then. Growing up, looking at some of the interviews and stuff that you've done, we've learned that you were an anime fan before getting into voice acting.
Yeah.
What else did you really kind of nerd out on as you were growing up?
Apart from anime?
Apart from anime.
Okay. Because I didn't really get into anime until high school. Before that, what was I into? I guess around the same time I was really into the X-Files.
Oh, nice.
Huge X-Files fan. I was always told that I bore a resemblance to Gillian Anderson. So I remember in high school, my best friend and I went as Mulder and Scully. It was pretty great. We're in the
That's
yearbook.
awesome.
Yeah. What else? What else did I like? I was in band and show choir.
Same here.
And drama. So I was a nerd about, music and theater.
Well, great. We relate on all those things then.
All of those.
Definitely band geeks here.
What did you play in band?
I played the trumpet from the 6th grade to the 10th grade.
Nice.
And then in 10th grade, I was also doing show choir. And I couldn't do them both and all of my school. And I was starting to do theater then as well.
Right.
I wasn't in the class for drama, but I could still be in the plays. So I just had no free time anymore if I had choir practice, marching band practice, theater practice. So after sophomore year, I ditched band.
The way we did it was we got all of our core classes out by like sophomore year. So the last 2 years was all music and theater for us.
I know we did theater, we did pep band, marching band, choir. So right in there with you. I was percussion. He was saxophone.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Band, it was definitely fun. I was not very good at my instrument and didn't really have much desire to get better at it. I wish I had chosen something like the drums instead, so I wouldn't have to really use my face and my breathing. And you definitely breathe as a drummer for sure. But I bet if I had,
especially if you're out of shape doing marching drums, you definitely.
Oh man,
drums were, I think I would have stuck with music had I been a drummer. But
so, what type of music? What type of music were you interested in, or are still interested in?
I'm not. When I said I'd geek out about music, it was more like I would geek out about band and what we were doing. I'm sort of a weird person when it comes to music. I don't really know what all is out there. What is pop music right now? I'm like, I don't know, because I don't really listen to it. I will just be comfortable listening to whatever people around me are listening to. I'm not one of those people that needs to know my exact genre and favorite song and favorite blah 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 to define myself. And nothing against those who are. Like, sometimes I wish I could be that, because it's such an easy way to get to know people. You just go like, what kind of music do you like? And my answer is always and then I don't get very far in that conversation.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So with, getting away from music, because we don't care about that as much. I never liked music. What are you talking about? So do you, with the voice acting that you do you personally have a favorite voice actor? Or somebody that you...
anime. Yeah. That can be across all times and all formats.
Oh, wow. How cool. My goodness. Okay, so my favorite show growing up was Animaniacs.
Right.
There's something. I used to geek out about cartoons, so I'm not really surprised that here I am
We're glad Animaniacs is coming back too.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I remember being a middle school kid and being obsessed with Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs.
Yeah.
And my friends and we all picked like our alter egos from amongst the characters in those shows. And when we would write each other notes in class, it was in character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember who I was though. That's awful. I think I may have been Wacko Warner, which is great. No, I cannot do the voice. Like, don't. Jess Harnell owns it.
Right.
I'm not. No. And back then, it wasn't even about doing the voice. It was just what character do I like and why. And I just liked him because he was silly. Aren't they all silly in that
those
show?
WB, those Steven Spielberg cartoons and all that.
Those were the best.
Those were a weird sort of vein in the cartoon history. They kind of stuck out on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't. They couldn't get away with that kind of stuff anymore, I don't think.
No, not at all.
I listened to your podcast talking to Rob Paulson. How was that? Being able to talk to him?
Oh my gosh, what a freaking dream that was.
Right?
So random. We just met at a convention and kind of got connected and looped in via other guests and other agents. And so I became friends with him and Maurice LaMarche, so Pinky and the Brain,
nice
together. And then Rob goes, "Hey, next time when you're in LA, come be on my show. I want to talk to another anime person.
Yeah,
you have a very different perspective from most of my guests." I went, "Okay." And we've kept in touch over the years. I mean, I'm not in LA, so, and conventions aren't happening right now either. Like the last time I saw him was a couple years ago around the first of the year. And then, but he's so great and he's a wonderful friend. And anytime I have a question about something, I could just like ask him and which is so weird. Like if you told little 12-year-old me, like, "Hey, so the show that you're watching, in 20 years from now, 25 years from now, you're going to be able to text that guy." And I'd be like, "What's texting?" That's what I would say.
No, that's surreal. Very.
So a little bit of follow up on that. Is there anybody else that you kind of geeked out on the first time you got to meet them after getting into the field of voice acting?
I feel that is probably true, but I can't remember who. Okay, here's a good answer. Since we've already touched on Cowboy Bebop, this here's a little spike right here. We got some glare on there, but tell you a little story. Let's go down memory lane. So I started voice acting in 2004, very beginning of 2004, and near the end of the year, around this time, there was a convention in Dallas called Anime Fest, and I went to it as an attendee just to check it out. I'd never been to a con before, even though I liked anime. And I'm like, well, this is cool. And then someone in a panel, up on the panel, pointed me out in the audience and said, "Hey, that girl right there, that's Caitlin Glass, and she's Winry in Fullmetal Alchemist." And everybody was like, "The show hadn't even come out yet." They hadn't even heard me yet, but they knew who Winry was, so they were interested. And then the rest of the weekend, the con's like, "Here, just be on all these panels." So I just sat in on these panels and hung out with all kinds of cool guests. A lot of people I'd met around Funimation. Others I'd only just heard their voices. So it was my first time to meet them. And the convention had, I want to say almost the whole cast of Bebop, or at least the main 3 or 4. But the whole weekend went by and I hadn't met Steve Bloom, because he was just always doing something different than whatever I'd been roped into. So I was telling my friend, Anthony Bowling, who's now also a fellow voice actor and director, but at the time we were just theater friends, who hung out with me the whole weekend. He's like, "It was a great weekend, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, too bad I never got to meet Steve." And then who plops down right next to me but Steve Bloom? It was a massive, last chance, get your autographs panel. So all of the guests at a really long table, and there was a free seat next to me, and Steve wanders in and sits down right next to me. So the rest of the day was hanging out with him and making friends. And that's another person that I sometimes pinch myself. I'm like, I could just, "Steve, what are you doing?" I could just text him, ask him whatever. And we catch up at conventions, and he's so sweet. He's always asking, "How's your mom?" And he's just the nicest guy, and what an amazing talent, and such a great heart for people. I really love and admire him. Yeah,
no doubt. So By the time the episode we're doing with you airs out, we're going to be a week or two into October and right in the middle of doing our top 10 favorite horror movie lists. Do you have a favorite horror movie?
Absolutely not.
No.
It is like not my genre at all. I don't. I can appreciate like spooky times and like the fun sort of Halloween Disneyland Haunted Mansion kind of vibe, but I've never ever been a horror movie person at all. I'm sorry.
So not horror then. What's your favorite or one of your favorite Halloween movies?
Okay,
we had some good ones.
Movie. The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is Christmas and Halloween.
No, yeah, that's perfect. That counts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that totally counts. We just watched it a couple nights ago.
I was scared shitless as that movie when I was little. Like that movie scared the crap out of me.
And there's scary stuff in there for little kids, for sure. Yeah.
So into more of the voice acting and the anime that you've done. You've played quite a few roles, just a few, I suppose, according to IMDb. How do you keep all the different personalities and the different voices separate?
You don't really have to.
Okay, fair enough.
It's very spur of the moment. It's really improvisational. You don't study your character. You don't memorize your lines. Everything is extremely organic and on the spot. So as an actor, you rely on the director and what you have what you've previously recorded to help inform what the voice should sound like. But that's also not set in stone. Usually you make that what we call a reference file on your very first day, your first episode of however many episodes there are to come. And the character has a lot of growing to do. And that means that their voice will change as it goes along. So I like to base my characters' voices in reality and in my authentic sound and then adjust it as necessary. So I don't worry myself too much about like, am I in voice or out of voice or in character or what? I just go with it and let the director tell me what they might want differently for whatever reason.
Right on. Yeah. So what are you more proud of or what do you have more fun doing? Directing or acting behind the mic?
Directing takes a lot more work.
I imagine.
I feel in that regard, I'm more proud of the directing work because the number of man hours and the fact that you're at the helm of a big collaboration.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to bring all these people together and get everyone excited about the show and make a good cohesive sound, work with multiple engineers and assistant directors. And then there's this big finished product at the end.
Yeah. And you can sort of stand back and let the other people shine too.
Exactly. And I really love that part of it. Acting stuff, I can be proud of maybe particular moments that a character has, a certain episode, but I also don't dwell on them.
Right.
I love to experience it, and then you let it go. Nowadays, I hardly ever watch it back once the whole episode is done anyway, so I kind of do it and then forget it.
All right.
Yeah.
So following up with, being on set, being in the booth and everything, do you have a crazy on-set story? Anything crazy that happened out, that was wacky, weird?
So wild and crazy times in the booth.
Them kooky voice actors. What do they get up to?
So crazy, you guys. I'm honestly one of the most boring performers. Really. You can't ask me what music do you like. Tell us a funny story.
It comes alive on the screen, though. You come alive.
Absolutely.
Thank you. No, really, we have so much fun doing our jobs that asking about a particular funny moment, it's like water cooler talk. It's like everything is fun.
Yeah.
It's all funny, which is why it's hard to remember one particular moment. That and anymore, we work at breakneck speed around here. We I don't want to say we churn it out because that makes it sound like the quality might be poor, but we've got it down to a science.
Yeah.
And so you get in and you focus and you get the job done. And for me, because I direct, I understand how important time is to other directors. So when I'm acting for someone else, I get in and I don't screw around because I want to save them 10 minutes at the end of the session that they can use for something else.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. So are there any up and coming voice actors that you think we should be paying attention to? Anybody that we maybe don't know about or that you think has a lot of potential or a lot of growth coming their way?
Sure. I'll go ahead and talk about what I'm directing right now and what I've directed recently. I'm directing a really cool show called Appare Ranman, and it is about a cross-country race in America from Los Angeles to New York. It takes place around the turn of the century.
Nice.
And it's super fun. It's put out by PA Works, if you know much about anime studios. They're my favorite studio. And the guy I have, the two leads are some actor friends of mine that I've known from theater. And the lead character of Appare is played by a young man named Lee George. And he's fantastic. He's so great. I want to say that this is his first true lead, like title character lead. I first brought him in a few years ago while I was working on the show called Free, which is about swimming. And he was more like a supporting lead. But he's the guy. The show is named after him. And he's killing it. He's just so great. And the second lead is a character named Kosame, and the actor is Ivan Hasso, spelled like Ivan, but it's pronounced Ivan. And I met him maybe 5 or 6 years ago here at Funimation. And again, I've been working with him consistently since then. When I look at my track record, he's in practically everything I've directed in some capacity. But I've never been able to use him like this. So Kosame is the straight man, but he and Appare are they're like the odd couple.
Nice.
So Kosame is always freaking out about stuff, and it's extremely cartoony and really broad character that Ivan gets to play. So I'm so excited for people to hear him, because now that he's in the forefront, folks will go, "Who is that guy?"
Yeah.
I'm like, he's been here. You just haven't been listening. But he's also in One Piece. He was also in both he and Lee George were in the last show I did called Radiant. And the lead in that show is a young actor named Chris Ramirez, also fantastic, that I know from theater. I tend to bring in actors from the stage a lot because that's where I started. And I feel like we speak the same language when it comes to acting. And
right.
Yeah.
It's like I just assume that they've had the same or similar training as me. And that's our basis where we start off our communication from.
Definitely appreciate that. So I'm gonna take this a little bit different. I'm gonna throw you off with this one, but I stream on Twitch a lot, and one of the big things that I'm into is video games. Do you have a favorite video game or even tabletop?
So, of course, I'm a bit of a weeb for Animal Crossing right now.
Fantastic.
Who isn't these days?
I just terraformed my entire island. It is flat, and now I need to rebuild it for October. So
Can you start all over?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It took me like 6 hours to tear everything down. It was honestly probably not worth it.
We'll have to share our friend codes or something.
Definitely.
Dude, my island is pretty cool. I wouldn't want to tear anything down. My island has a Shakespeare in the Park. It has
awesome.
It has a honky tonk. It has like a little fairy garden area. It has a lot of things. It has a cat cafe.
Oh, that's fantastic. So tying into that, who's your favorite villager?
I have Dom. I think he's my favorite. He's a little woolly sheep who talks about working out all the time and always wears a tie-dye shirt. Yeah, I think he's my favorite. But apart from Animal Crossing, which is a newer game, though I have played previous iterations of it. Growing up, I loved Street Fighter. I played Street Fighter a lot.
Oh, that must be awesome for you playing
it. And then...
Yes, exactly. You saw where I was going with this.
We did our research.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that I'm in that game. Like, how am I in this game? I used to play this game.
Yeah.
So the version I played was before Cammy was even in it. But still, I knew who she was because there were the times when I wasn't playing that game. And anywho, so Cammy, wow, so cool. I never thought that I would play her. or like get to voice her.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a few years since I did her stuff for Street Fighter V, and I haven't needed to do anything new since. So I hope that they still consider me whenever they make the next iteration of the game, because I don't ever want to stop being her. She's a favorite.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to be her? She's amazing.
I mean, I guess sorry, but I wouldn't want to be her specifically. I might go for Rai or Ken, but
I'm more of a Blanca
Okay.
guy myself, you know.
Oh, Blanca's awesome.
You look a little bit like Blanca.
Little bit. Just color me green, you know, I'll be perfect.
It's the creator's favorite character. So.
Oh, nice. Little secret there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we definitely want to, if you could give us a little intro for your episode. Say, you know, my name is, mention whatever project you want to mention or character that you love playing, and you're listening to Two Dads on a Podcast, just so we can get that soundbite to cut out and throw at the beginning.
Absolutely. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Glass, a voice actress from Fullmetal Alchemist and Oron High School Host Club, and you are listening to Two Dads and a Podcast.
Hey, this is Felix, and you've been listening to the Two Dads and a Podcast interview series. For more content, like and subscribe to this channel. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitch, and everywhere podcasts are available. To help us bring you more of these amazing interviews, you can support us on our Patreon. Just follow the links below, and thanks for watching.